Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the We Know Traitors podcast over here on RHAP. I'm your host, the Duke of Deception. With me is my lovely co-host, Brian Scally, and we are here talking to the latest person murdered and taken away from the Traitors Canada manor. Shaughnessy is here with us. Shaughnessy, you got murdered. How does that feel?
It's unfortunate. I think murdering is the worst way to go because you don't get to say your piece.
It's unfortunately, yeah, Shaughnessy. It's something that, honestly, we were not quite expecting. We were really thinking that your name had been being thrown around there for a little bit. How was it having your name come up at the round table quite a bit at the last few junctures?
It's a little intimidating, especially because nobody addressed it with me. That first round table, I had no idea my name was coming up until we were going in there and Hollywood looked at me and said, "They're coming for you, girl." And I was like, oh, shit. I was definitely not prepared, especially when Kevin brought up my name so aggressively. I was like, oh God, like, what am I going to do? Because I didn't do anything that really made myself seem like a traitor, except, the raft theory, which I thought we debunked, but that's all I could do.
Yeah, I really feel it was interesting because we obviously saw on Kevin's way out, his big grand finale gesture was, I think you are bad. However, I think we should go Coco tonight. If it's Coco, we look at Shaughnessy. You are sitting here with us now. Coco's still very much in that manner. How did it feel from that night on for you, having your name be brought up by somebody who then turns out to be a traitor?
I thought personally that it was pretty obvious what he was doing, and the fact that a lot of people did not kind of bothered me. Obviously, they said Coco first, because if they get Coco, yay, they got a traitor. And then if he got me the next night and I wasn't, it makes him look innocent because they're like, oh, can't get them both right. But no, everybody seemed to say, well, if we go for Coco, then we still have to consider Shaughnessy because he said her name as well, which just to me, that they didn't follow his gameplay there really got on my nerves.
How shocked were you to come up in that moment? Did you feel like you were linked with Coco by that point, or did it link you moving forward?
I did not think I was linked to Coco at all. I was very shocked in the moment. Because Hollywood kind of said, hey, your name's coming up, I full and well was ready to start off that round table because I didn't want my nerves to kind of get the better of me. So I'm like, I'm going to kickstart this. And then he said my name and the nerves went, whoo. So I definitely panicked at that point, especially after having such a long round table and it circling back to me. It was a lot in the moment.
Shaughnessy, what was your experience with the Traitors before you got on? Were you a big fan, or did you study up on the way once you got chosen to be there? What's your journey there?
So no, I actually had never heard of the Traitors until last season because my friend Rebecca was on season 2. And when Cassie came out, she sent it to me and she was like, hey, it's open this year. You should send in a video. So I sat in my car on my lunch break and sent in a video, and then I got it and I was like, oh God. So then I kind of binge watched a few seasons to try to get the lay of the land. But I almost wish I hadn't. I feel like if I had to go in there and had to figure things out, it almost would have been better because there were so many theories going around and people are always looking back on past seasons, which I really don't think there's a whole lot of benefit to. Yeah, you can see some things people tried and they might try that again. But honestly, I don't think that would have benefited me in any way, and it didn't.
So we see in the opening episode that you're one of 3 people who seem to be tapped on the shoulder, only to find out that basically everyone was. What was going through your mind? Did you want to be a traitor, or were you very nervous in that moment?
It took me a few business days to get over it, to be completely honest. As soon as I felt that tap, I immediately was daydreaming. I was like, okay, I'm in the conclave and I'm like, who am I going to murder? I was beyond excited. So when I found out that was not the case, I don't think I've ever been so disappointed in my life. I went in there fully prepared to be a traitor, not a faithful, which in the long run clearly was a dumb choice. I should have kind of worked out how to win both ways. But at that point, I was kind of like, okay, just got to try your best.
Who were you closely aligned with during your tenure on the show?
I would say Hollywood and Lisette were probably my number ones.
Okay. So, how do you think? Sorry. When you find out later in the game that Chala and Meredith are a married couple, how shocked were you on that? Were there any indications?
So no, I had absolutely no idea. I was extremely shocked. But the one thing that was kind of there is Meredith was going around the manor the whole time saying, "Oh, my husband, my husband." And I remember saying to Hollywood, I was like, does she not know she's gay? Like, I really don't understand because it was so obvious. And I love Meredith. I really do. But like the husband thing it was not a good angle to go.
Who were your main suspects that you were looking at these last couple, or once Kevin went out, basically? Who were you looking at as the next people?
Venus. I was saying Venus's name right from the get-go, but nobody took to it. It was very frustrating. I remember I said it to Hollywood and he was like, well, she's not on my radar, but because you said it, I'll start looking into it. I was like, okay. But every time I mention it, people were like, oh, really? No, I didn't see that. So even when it came up at the round table, and I did try to explain it, I kind of got spoken over a little bit. And I was so stressed out at that point, it just did not work out in my favor. I kind of dropped it a little bit just because nobody was listening to me.
That's the thing. I feel like you've been mentioning Venus's name quite a bit. You get linked with Coco in the Kevin round table. How did you change your game plan once these are just not moving forward?
Honestly, I didn't. I kept trying to convince Hollywood to look at Venus and Jericho because me and Jericho were pretty close as well. I feel like her name did kind of start coming up a little bit, which was nice. But as for Coco, everybody really fell off that bandwagon. I think she got pretty lucky because they were going to look at her, but then Rhea imploded the next day, and it was so beyond obvious we had to get her out. All the focus moved to her, so it went off Coco, which was great for her game. And I think people were looking elsewhere, so kind of took the suspicion off her a little bit.
So your parting confessional that we saw last night, you mentioned that you got quiet and you think you got taken out as a result. Well, what I want to know is why did you choose to go quiet this last little bit?
I chose to go quiet because in the beginning I was speaking a lot to everybody, and that was apparently making me suspicious. So I was kind of like, all right, so I'm doing too much. Maybe I should rein it back a little bit. So I was still talking to people, but I was quieter at the round table. And there was no winning. It was like I was talking too much. Now I'm not talking enough. There was no middle ground for me. I couldn't win.
Who do you think is playing the messiest faithful game of the people still in?
The messiest faithful. Oh God.
Great question, Scally.
I love my girl Lisette. I love her so much. But she's a little messy.
It happens.
Yeah.
Well, she's been saying Meredith's name from the beginning. You two were close. What was it about Meredith that you didn't think was suspect? And was there any way of conveying that to Lisette at all?
No, I think they kind of hit it off very poorly in the beginning and they just didn't get along. And in this game, everybody is trying to get a traitor. And I think where she just disliked her so much, I think she just associated that as her being a traitor because everybody else was so kind. This cast is so amazing. And I know a few other people kind of had issues with Meredith. So I think she just wanted her out of this game, to be honest.
Shaughnessy, if instead of a murder note, you find a recruitment letter that night, well, one, do you accept? And then who should be worried about getting murdered if you're up there?
Okay, obviously I'm accepting. I'm shitbait because that totally means they're going to try to get me out and spin it for me. That's why I was so confused with Rhea. She's like, yay, friends. I'm like, you do not have friends. No. Who would I murder, though? That is a great question.
Lots of options.
There is. There is. That's a really hard question.
You can
That
go
is.
personal. You can go for strategy. You can do.
Kicking off with personal is a wild choice, Scally.
I know. It's because you can play it so many ways. Like, I almost
Yeah.
want to say, I never want to kill Lisette, but Lisette, because Chala and Meredith have been saying her name so much. And, like, she's such a good friend to me. But then it could come back on me. So you almost want to do something random so nobody looks at me, like Kara.
Tough.
And then everybody's like, what's going on? Jamal kept saying her name, but then is that too obvious? There's so many ways you can play this game. That's the problem. It's so hard to be a faithful. I feel like the game is a lot of luck. You got to be so good at this game, but the traitors can
100%.
murder for whatever reason they want or no reason at all. That's why it is the best place to be in this manner.
And you can get banished for any reason at all.
Yes.
The wrong look at somebody and they're going to say your name that night. And it's like, there's nothing much you can do on it.
No.
Yeah. Were you familiar with any of the reality TV alum that were on your season when you first got there?
No. And that's something that was a little frustrating, just for the simple fact that I did not know who any of them were, but they seemed to know each other. So the fact that Omar and Kevin knew each other, like Omar totally knew that Kevin was a traitor. Like they had that bond. He knows him. It's a lot easier when you know the person to pick up on cues. So many people had a bit more of an advantage, I want to say, than a lot of us coming into it.
Mm-hmm.
Even not having seen them on TV and seeing how they behave and what their personality is, that is such an up for people like that.
Gonna go back and watch any of them, or they're old news?
I did not watch anything.
Your life is fine. You're fine.
I was tempted. I might watch a bit of Survivor. I used to love Survivor, and
Okay.
I kind of fell off it, but
Big 50 coming up. It's going to be a good time to get in.
I know.
So interestingly enough, I didn't know this. So finding this out on the interview, you got told by your friend Rebecca from season 2, hey, you should apply. Do you have someone in your life right now that you're like, hey, I'm telling you to apply for season 4? Who is that person?
That is so. I honestly don't think any of my friends would do it. I think they'd be too nervous.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of my friends are quite introverted. So I think it would be a big step for them to do something like that. For example, my brother, I tried so hard to get him to apply for Amazing Race with me, and he will not do it. He was like, no, I do not want to be on TV. I can't do it. And I'm like, a free car, some money, some trips? No, can't entice him at all.
Did Rebecca give you any advice coming in? And what advice would you give if you had a friend coming on next time?
She just said that it goes by really fast. You really have to buckle in. It was kind of hard for her to give me a whole lot of advice because she was the first one to go, which was super unfortunate.
It did go very fast.
And my whole thing going in was like, don't be first. And I really wanted redemption, which didn't work out. So now it's worse again. Like, I really want redemption. I need to do something.
My last question for you, Shaughnessy, is if you would be into the idea of going on another show now that you've been on The Traitors. Is there any show in the horizon that you'd be interested in?
Yes, I would definitely do another show, especially because I want redemption and I learned a lot. I definitely didn't speak when I had so much to say, which was very difficult, and I should not have done it. So I would not make the same mistakes again. And I think this was just an introduction. I mean, the Amazing Race would be a lot of fun. I would love to do Survivor. Like I said, I did watch it a long time ago. And being from Newfoundland and being outdoorsy, I would love to do it. And I remember I said it to my fiance, and he was like, you couldn't do that. You wouldn't have a bathroom or anything like that. I was like, I'm even more determined now. I'm like, you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, we're your friends. We're telling you you should apply to Survivor.
Do it.
Thank you.
This has been great, though. Shaughnessy, is there anywhere that people should be looking for you online to keep up with what you're doing?
I have an Instagram, and I just started a TikTok. It's all Shaughnessy OD. So I'm going to be putting some stuff out on that. And I'm going to apply for Survivor. So fingers crossed.
Perfect. All right, Shaughnessy, thank you so much for your time. Take care. Have a good one.
Yes, it was nice meeting you guys. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.